Today we're talking to a queen who is no stranger to using her voice to amplify her message and her art. We're talking to the truth teller, Miss Hiney Davenport.
Hey, how's it going? Hi, Mama. Hi, Jonny.
Thank you for bringing us the rainbow for our special Pride episode, sweetie. You look so good.
Thank you so much. I got stoned this morning and I was trying to figure out some inspiration, and I had this rainbow hat that I found at I gave a speech at Black Gay Pride Australia this year, and I swapped this hat off the beach. I don't know whose it is, so thank you for whoever I stole this from.
Oh, there it is.
Honey, it's a Pride Month unlike one we've ever experienced in our lifetime. One where the most important thing isn't celebrating Pride, but standing up for Black Lives Matter and the protests going on right now. How are you processing everything that's going on?
It is so strange, and when I tell you this feeling that I'm having, you're probably gonna gag. So I actually, for once in my entire almost 35 years of existence, and I feel heard because I created my first social justice art, piece of social justice art when I was 10 years old. I was really frustrated, and I was looking at the world I was growing into and already could see the systematic oppression, even though I didn't have those words for it, that my uncles and my father had experienced. And I could see little gay me was going to grow up into a lot worse. And I started to express myself through my art, which has always been the place that I felt safe. And when I look back and I read my poetry that I produced by myself at 10 years old, about the state of the world and how unheard I felt saying that, and how much social justice art I've created since as a way to speak out against everything that's, that I've been feeling and that has been happening to me and it's been happening to our culture. And for once, I'm watching people who remain silent say something. And for once, I actually have hope that we could actually overcome this.
Yeah, now is the time for everybody who hasn't spoken up to speak up, because without all of us, you can't.
Right. I had a really cool interaction with one of my season 11 sisters. There are definitely, what I can say is there are definitely parts of our reunion where I called out racism that were not aired. Neither was anything else that I said, so I'll leave it at that. And that's probably why. But I had a sister, my sister Brooklyn Heights, and I were talking, and we were talking about how she could better use her voice and better use her platform. And in our conversation, when I explained to her how I felt that day and how everybody was just watching and saying nothing, and how thankful that I was that she finally had was speaking up about something, she got it. She got it. And I think that what right now we need everybody to do is listen and understand that for a very long time we've been treating people very differently. And there's going to be some new actions that we need to take to change that. And shout out to Brooklyn and everybody else who's really been taking a stance on, righting this injustice that has been happening, using their platform, using themselves in protest in the middle of a pandemic to, figure out a way to solve this world problem that we're living in,
Yeah. Now, right before the quarantine, you dropped a song that was very prophetic, because you did Draw the Blood with Aja, a song that deals with racism, police brutality, complacency among non-Black people. Tell me about the song.
Yeah. So I asked Aja if she'd do a song with me, and we originally dawdled around with the idea of doing a Halloween song or something to release. And then she actually suggested that we do something a little more important. And with Draw the Blood, what I really wanted to express was how it felt that day in the reunion or other days where I spoke out against social injustice and watched all my friends or people who call themselves my friends say absolutely nothing. How it felt when I very publicly quit bars where I experienced racism, and I watched people who called themselves my friends say absolutely nothing, and how that silence was so loud. So Draw the Blood in the chorus, I say, I don't want to waste my life chasing after what's not mine. You don't have to hold a knife to draw the blood. Because when you're just watching me experience an extreme amount of systematic oppression and saying absolutely nothing, aren't you part of the problem as well? Didn't we just put police, didn't we just give police time for watching murder? How many of us have been watching social injustice and saying and doing absolutely nothing? And I created that piece because I wanted to show people how I felt like the blood was on their hands as well. And all of the stories that I tell in the video, even the one of police brutality, which is my personal story, were stories from people on my team. Like, you know, my assistant / best friend, sorry, I get a little choked up, Kareem, and the injustice that he's experienced in, you know, in the white collar world before working with me. What I wanted to do was my first piece was do what Sanford Meisner said and say art is a mirror to life. And I wanted to show what it felt like in my life, what it felt like for me and my friends, that as we experience these things and we look around, and I literally put my friends in the video. I shot the video. Thank you to Paradise and Asbury Park, who gave me the space for free and gave me a ton of support for it. I put my friends in it, my white friends in it, because I wanted them to know that, like, when they don't say anything, this is what it feels like, you know? Yeah, so that's what that piece is about. And that's really why it's important now, because we're starting to see a whole lot of the world speak up. And as we see a whole lot of the world speak up, it's really obvious to see those who aren't.
Yeah. You have a feeling on the fact that we've yet to hear from RuPaul?
I have personal feelings. And as much as RuPaul has done for our community, I tend to keep my personal feelings to myself. And I'm fine with saying that. But I will say this. I do believe that there are many ways to respond to this. Part of me personally feels like I'm experiencing that same silence. Like, I really want, like, someone who I consider our guru or our leader to lead us and to say something. And then the other part of me is just like, real talk, we don't get to judge how Black people respond to this at all. And if her response is silence, that is, we don't know what she's been through to get to where she has had to, what kind of racism she has had to overcome to get to where she is, or how she's affected by this. You know, it might have taken me a little bit more time to respond if I had experienced what she experienced as well. And while part of me is like, yo, mother, say something, the other part of me is like, I don't get to judge. Even as a person of color, the only thing we get to do is listen to other people of color. That is all. Right now, it's about listening and learning and understanding everybody's experience of this. Hey, Qween.